for coming in between the panel discussion. I was sitting like you and I was told that I have to make a presentation, so I'm back to actually do that. So we are at the mercy of organizers, so we are with you, right? Okay, and I was just told sitting there that both the Nottingham City Council and the University of Nottingham, they are on SAP. So that way, we are in good company, right? Now, what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, the next 10 minutes that, I have been given is to give you a peep into the future. For some of you, you might feel this presentation that I share, that I discuss, you may discard today saying that this is something that is too futuristic. But the point that I would like to start by qualifying now is this is real and it's happening now, what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is purely focusing on the governance part, that what I'm saying, that we have moved away from the digital era too. So we talked about digital governance, we talked about electronic governance, we talked about smart cities. We have moved from digital era to what is called the era of intelligence. Now, for those of you who are technically minded, what I'm saying is we have moved from systems that we were programming to systems that are learning now. That's going to be the next wave. And if you are thinking, what is the meaning of this statement that I'm making, that systems that are programming to systems that are learning, we are already talking in, say for example, in our products terminology, to transactionless kind of applications. That is, if you look at a simple process like invoice processing. So somebody would give an invoice, somebody will enter that into a system or capture it using a barcode or something like that, and then it gives triggers a workflow. Today what we are talking about is an intelligent processing of the invoice without the need of a manual intervention. The moment the invoice is received, the machine automatically understands the vendor code, the things, the other things, and processes triggered based on the invoice that, so there is minimally the manual intervention. So that's the kind of technology now. So somebody may ask this question as to what does it mean? It means broadly, these technologies we have been hearing since the morning, we have, and we always say this, from the internet of content that we had at stage 1, we moved to the internet of people. That's where people started collaborating, people started sharing Facebooks, the WhatsApps, everything. We are now moving to internet of things wherein devices are talking, and it's all real. I'm not saying in the story, and this is having a huge impact on business models that we are actually generating. So we have moved from internet of content to internet of people to now to internet of things. We are already talking about artificial intelligence, that systems that will automatically learn based on what we do, and this also is moving from a perception stage to a predictive stage to a prescriptive stage, and now to participative stage. That is, machines are participating as co-workers, and in particularly in our kind of setups in government and others, this will become the technology de facto, because it will automatically identify what law, what rule, what procedure, what act would apply, and route it as a process. Now, again, and then we spoke about blockchain and all. Now, what does it mean when we talk about this? Broadly, we have been used to this. We are used to the realm of data consuming processes. That is, processes consuming data. That is, we had processes, we wanted to generate data. Using this data, I would do a workflow. Ladies and gentlemen, the point that I am trying to say is, going forward, data will start defining processes. The processes will become dynamic, and the data would be actually leading to what kind of process I follow. For example, the logistics would be a big example in terms of when I decide a particular route, and based on that, the tolling, the workflow, the routing, etc. Depending on the jet traffic conditions, it will become dynamic, or it has already become dynamic on this switch in terms of defining what will be my process of transportation. That's the change. And so somebody may ask, what does it mean? It means dynamic shift in thought process to the way we manage, dynamic shift in the thought process to the way we act, and a continuously dynamically evolving environment in which we will now characterize, in which you and me will be working going forward. Now, so what is happening actually? What is happening is broadly on this, the repetitive tasks are being taken away by machines. And the high value added tasks, actually the portion is going up because of the intelligence that is getting built. That is, in terms of the focus, we are now generating high value outcomes using technology, and that is where companies like us, we call that we are in an era of intelligent enterprises. That is, we are actually generating more high value outcome. So then again, somebody may ask this question, so what? What is so unique? We have always evolved using technology for societal growth. We have always done that. Somebody gave us technology, we use those products and evolve. This evolution, ladies and gentlemen, is unique. It's unique in two ways. One, it's an integrated one. That is, it is not a one-way street that people evolved products and gave it to you and you used it. It is you equally participating in this evolution. The data that you feed in becomes the basis of the products that people evolve. And that is where is the huge opportunity and the huge challenge. Huge challenge, and I'm sure all of you have heard our Data Protection Draft Act in terms of the need to protect the personal data, because each one of us is now becoming a part of the product. And as somebody said, and that would actually lead to a huge cultural shift as we move forward in terms of sharing data that people would actually do. And that is a big challenge that we have at hand, but the opportunity also is immense. Now, when I say opportunity also has emerged, broadly 4 areas: perception, prediction, prescription, and participation. These are the 4 broad stages, and we have already begun to recognize machines and co-workers. I am sure all of you are aware that countries have started recognizing robots as citizens. They have already, robots have been granted citizenship in countries. That's the level, and some of us may still discard it, saying it's futuristic, but let me tell you, the pace at which it is coming to us is unprecedented, and before you and me can think of, we will have to take a plunge. And from that perspective, and some of us always, and I was listening to a few speakers in the morning, wherein this thought that India does not need the global examples. Absolutely, it's a collective learning, but let me tell you, each one of us sitting in this room should be proud collectively of the kind of work that we have done in the digital space in this country. We have done huge work. Give me an example of another country with the kind of platform like Aadhaar. Give me an example of we are actually the world's largest, rural broadband network. We are doing practically everything that's world's largest in the digital space. So the foundation for this is getting ready. Now is the point that we need to build on this. Now, how do I build on? And from a government perspective, the big shift that will happen is I was always optimizing my services to citizens. I was always optimizing my service delivery, my citizen experience to this. Going forward, and I'm not talking about time too distant in future, I would have to propose service to citizens based on their individualized, personalized requirements. Rather than citizen asking for a service from me, I would be required to propose service based on the personalized requirement of this thing. That's the shift that will happen, on this. So then comes the issue, and if we are looking at the opportunity, number of reports, number of efforts. So Accenture report says that it will add as high as $957 billion. Artificial intelligence alone will add $957 billion. Government has taken a number of initiatives. The Artificial Intelligence Task Force has actually viewed it as a socio-economic problem solver in the country. So there are debates around this thing. So where are the challenges? The challenges, this is one example that I would like to take, and I would like to take 2 minutes despite I have to slip. This is one example of crop and food production forecasting. Typically, all of those who are aware would know that the crop and food production is actually forecasted by a physical survey. People go into the different parts of region, find out what is being cultivated, and based on that, an extrapolation done. And it takes 4 months and 20,000 rupees per square kilometer of survey is the cost. Here is this company which used machine learning, which used artificial learning, using our technology. They did the same work through satellite image analysis, and the cost has come down from 20,000 rupees to 1 rupee per kilometer. That's the kind of, and the estimation from 4 months to 9 days. That's and the accuracy plus minus 2-3% of the actual physical data. That's the level of machine learning that people can actually talk about. So finally, last thing that I wanted to talk, and in India, what are the challenges? One, the issue on employment and safety. Issue is on because we are still evolving as an economy. We will need to balance out the jobs that we create vis-a-vis the jobs that will be lost using technology, and there will be work organization and redesign. Let's face it, we will have to balance it. Skill availability still continues to be a challenge. Most important in our kind of setups is the siloed availability of data collection and availability. Data privacy we are addressing, cyber security, and enabling. So what would be the just to give you an example, this is the extent to which these skills are available in terms of the technology. So artificial intelligence, as I mentioned in the morning, only 21%. Right? Now, these are the areas, the last slide that I have, these are the areas that would require attention. A creation of a multi-stakeholder dialogue. We would need to focus on standards and interoperability. And the task force report also talks about creation of data exchanges. The artificial it talks about creation of data exchanges. Cyber security and public safety, as I mentioned in the morning, would get merged. Work organization and redesign, training, and going forward, ladies and gentlemen, these are the areas of the program that we would need to address if we have to take advantage of the computing powers of the machine in building a digital India. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.